Hello guys and girls and welcome to the GBA Week 7 match. We are up against the Montreal Habsols, coached by none other than AsterJ. We have not that much of history with Aster. Actually, I already talked about that in Team Builder, but actually I talked with Aster as well. And since the match already happened, it's post-recording. And we actually battled before the GPC as well, so there he won. So we are even right now, so far in our career, but that, of course, will at least change for someone. Of course, we plan that happens to us. Yeah, we come off of a loss versus Leo, so we are only, quote-unquote, only 5-1. Our opponent Aster is 4-2 currently, so... but he is out of our conference match. So, barring that, we definitely need 1 or 2 wins in the next few weeks. This is probably one of the least important matches of the last, but of course we still want to grab our win to, yeah, better our record and solidify our spot going into the playoffs. But I'm assuming Aster, of course, planning to do the same since he is at a 4-2 spot right now. Another win would solidify as well his chances for the playoffs. But now, going into this match and going into the team before we start with the usual shoutouts. And shoutouts go once again to NeonXero for joining this team and to GoldoaDragon for recording this team. Extra shoutout to Goldoa this time because he had to record on a very short notice. We battled my Saturday night or Saturday evening, and after that I had an event I was going to. So I had no time to look for something to record, and yeah, basically I'm recording this on the same day I'm uploading it, and so I had to find a recorder quick. I spammed the recording chat and Goldoa was nice enough to hop in and yeah, record this really quick for me before he was going somewhere as well. So yeah, extra shout out to him. But either way, that's that. Now going onto the team matchup. If you want to know more about my team, of course, I uploaded the team builder yesterday. You should can check that out in the description. I have a link there. And yeah, for all which don't have time for that, very quick overview. We have special defense Mandibuzz, expert belt Jirachi, substitute free attacks Deoxys, double dance Lando physical, and physical defensive Tangrowth, and ICMZ Freeze Shark Kyurem. Looking at our opponent's side, he brought the Tyranitar, the Nidoqueen, the Lunala, the Rotom-Bosch, the Tornadus-T, and the Mawile. No real surprises, as I mentioned in Team Builder. Mawile was like 100% coming, and then it was a toss-up between basically all of his mons, which could come. I'm very relieved to not see the Reuniclus, because I hate facing that thing. But other than that, Lunala makes sense, Rotom makes... way too many mons on his team made sense. So I only had Mawile but as a 100% bring, and the rest was just the other 5. Whatever Aster basically feels like versus me. So no real surprises there. But there was not really a room for surprise, barring he decided for some reason not to bring Mega Mawile. But yeah, that's his squad. Looking now at leads, his most likely lead is in my opinion, the Tornadus, because it's quick. It's speed my whole team barring Deoxys, but I most likely won't lead Deoxys. And yeah, can U-turn on everything or just win 1v1 with, for example, the Tangrowth and stuff like that. So I decided to lead with my special defensive Mandibuzz to have my checklist that out and just get a free knockoff on something. I do have to play very careful though with Mandibuzz, because the problem with Mandibuzz is, and kind of, I mean, I guess the set as well, I don't know if that really set with Mandibuzz which doesn't allow that, which is that Mandibuzz allows the Mega Mawile to come in, and Mega Mawile is a huge pain in the butt for me, because I only have Tangrowth and Switch It, which can take 2 play rough, but I don't necessarily 2-hit KO him back with Earthquake. So I have Sleep Powder, so I have to rely on hitting a Sleep Powder and stuff like that. But yeah, Mawile, huge for that. Let's see it with Mandibuzz and see what happens. I can see already in history he decides to lead with Tyranitar, but we'll see how I can react to that. We are challenged by Pokemon Trainer Aster, and he's sending out his... Oh, never mind. First, we start off sending out our POW, which is, of course, the Mandibuzz, like I already mentioned, and he sends out Chronovi, which is the Despotar. Sounds like some kind of noodle, but yeah, he sends out Tyranitar. Despotar's the German name. Tyranitar, and we don't want to stay in. We switch right into our Tangrowth. We don't want to tank a Stone Edge. He might just go for Rocks right here, but to be honest, I still want my Mandibuzz around, and I can't do much to Tyranitar. Best thing I could do is knock off. I was thinking about it, because I could knock off a potential Chop Berry versus or some kind of berry or Assault Vest versus my Deoxys, but either way, he goes straight for his Stone Edge. From his damage, you can actually tell that this is a fully offensive Tyranitar. And right here, I could go straight for the Giga Drain, but the Giga Drain is problematic because he has 2 great switches to this, which are one the Mawile and one the Tornadus. So I decided actually to fire off my Sleep Powder right away. Here she stays in, goes for the Rock, so I would prefer going for Giga Drain right here, because now it turns out that I will put this Tyranitar to sleep, and yeah, since Sleep Clause is a thing, that means I can't sleep Mawile anymore, not any of those mons, and yeah, Tyranitar definitely not my first choice of putting to sleep. Now, of course, the Giga Drain is pretty obvious or something like that, so he could just switch into the Mawile now, or potentially his Tornadus as well. Mainly, I'm scared of the Mawile, so I'm actually not gonna stay in. I'm actually gonna double out into my Landorus. He switches out as well, but goes into his Tornadus 49%. And we double out into our Lando, getting a Regenerator back on Tangrowth to making it switch into the Mawile again. But we get hit by rocks, he gets hit by sand, and now we have to make a decision, because I'm a physically offensive Lando with, of course, Sheer Force and Rock Slide. I OHKO this thing with Rock Slide, but he OHKOs me with HP Ice as well, or potentially even a Supersonic Dive Strike, since this is his Z-Mon. And so I have the decision to make. The problem is my best switch into this, of course, is the Mandibuzz. Like I mentioned, Mandibuzz invites in the Mawile, especially since if he decides not to hit me with the Hurricane or HP Ice here, the most likely play he will do is going for U-turn, and that brings the Mawile in right away. So I have to decide, do I want to play very aggressive here, or do I want to play rather safe? And in the end, for this 50-50, I decide to go into my Mandibuzz, because looking at the team, Mr. Man is my win condition, and I could risk it right here, but I'm basically risking the whole game on this switch. So I decided to play it a bit more safe, going into my Mandibuzz, hoping he would just go for HP Ice or a Z Hurricane or something like that. Just don't go for the U-turn, because we don't want to see Mawile on the field, but he does go for the U-turn. So god damn it! I could have just gone for the Rock Slide. Of course not KO anything since he's faster, but I could have done some good damage on something. And yeah, basically not have this happening, which is Togobor hitting the field, the Mega Mawile. And yeah, now I have to decide what do I want to switch in. My Tangrowth is sadly at full, and with Sand and Rocks, it will be 2-hit KO'd by an Element Playrough from this thing. So I decide actually to hard switch out here into my Garage, because Playrough is obviously the best play he can do right here. And then I can get some damage with the Fire Punch on that, potentially get a burn, or even get up the rocks if I want to play around with Sucker Punch and stuff like that. He, of course, makes his Mega Evolving thing and decides to go for the move called... Where is it? There it is, Play Rough, and we take a bunch of damage from that, even though it's resisted, of course, because we are mainly offensive, but still, it's a Jirachi, and we take a bunch of damage. And right here I have to decide, okay, do I pick and switch out, go for U-turn, do I go for Iron Head, try to get a flinch, do I go for Fire Punch for the good damage, because we exit belt, we will do around, depends if he's max HP, we will do around 30 to 40%, if he is max HP, we will 2-hit KO him. Or do we go for rocks, picking a Sucker Punch right here? In the end, I decide to scout if he has the Sucker Punch, because that is important for mainly my Deoxys, and my Landorus as well, if it wants to sweep. So I actually decide to go for the rocks right here, predicting to either switch out, what is less likely, or him going for the Sucker Punch. We go for rocks, and we see he doesn't go for the Sucker Punch, and I'm thinking, okay, please don't go for Sword Stance. Hopefully he goes for some kind of attack, but don't go for Sword Stance, and he goes just straight for Knockoff, which is an indicator that he might not have Sucker Punch. It's double Dark Coverage. I mean, it of course would still make sense, but it's an indicator, and we have to keep that in mind for later on. But we go into Mr. Man right here, which of course our man to revenge kill that. Sadly, we do lose our Jirachi. I would have loved to get some damage on the Mawile, but right here I do play a bit aggressive. I do just go straight for the Rock Slide, because he has of course 2 great switches into ground attacks. One is his Rotom, which we see right here, and the other would be the Tornadus. And getting damage on Rotom is my way of winning with Landorus, because like you can see right here, after rocks, this Rock Slide does around 50%. So another time this thing comes in on rocks plus Rock Slide, it's gonna die, and that means we can get a Rock Polish up. We basically sweep the team, because looking at the whole team he has, the Lunala is very weak, is not as strong, especially since Shadow Shield will be broken with rocks. Tyranitar is asleep and will die. Tornadus will die, and the Mawile will die. So, Mr. Man is looking like great win condition. Sadly, he does go for the Pain Split right here, which of course brings him out of range again. And yeah, he does go for the Ult Switch. I decide to go just straight for the Giga Drain right here, not playing it too aggressive. I could have gone, like it's always at 50-50. Do I go for Earthquake, predicting the Mawile, or do I go for Hidden Power Ice, predicting the Tornadus? Or do I just go for the middle ground play, and I guess the very safe play and go for Giga Drain? Sadly, I still dread that I just put the Tyranitar to sleep, because that's what one of the... I mean, it helps for Deoxys, but for the rest of the team, would have preferred having this asleep, or preferably, of course, the Mawile. He does switch into Tornadus, like you see right here. We get a little bit health back from the Giga Drain. Right here, I don't have a switch into Hurricane. Let me pause actually real quick. Okay, I paused it way too late. But I stayed in with Tangrowth, because at this point in the game, I don't have switches to Hurricane. I do have a switch in Mandibuzz, but what that does, it brings back the Mawile, and something dies. So in the end, I decide just sack my Tangrowth right here, because at the amount health it's at, already put something to sleep. I just rather take it right here, get a free switch either into my Deoxys or something like that, and get a kill myself. Playing a bit more aggressive right here. And yeah, maybe hoping he would overpredict as well and go for like a knockoff, a U-turn, something like that. But he does go for Hurricane and he does miss. That of course sucks for him because that means I get an HP Ice off, which won't kill, but actually has a chance to kill him right here. So now we can pray to the RNG gods a little bit more and hope he might miss again and we can go for second HP Ice. But Aster is of course smart and not wanting to risk it, just go straight for the U-turn into his animations take way too long right here for me. He does go back into his Toga War, his Mawile, of course, which chooses to make an HP Ice since it's resisted. And yeah, we do only very little damage. But we are actually, from this amount of health, out of range from a player from this thing. So we can just go straight for an Earthquake and get some more chip on this thing. Sadly, we won't kill it, like we mentioned, by the crit. And he actually has to go for safe knockoffs. I guess he was afraid of missing the player off. But either way, we can just go straight for an Earthquake and get some more damage on this thing. And now basically my hope is that the overpredicts goes for player of miss again. Like after I saw the Hurricane miss, I thought, okay, missing is always nice right here, but I'm still sacking my Tangrowth, and this time he connects the player off, which of course is well deserved, and we do lose our Spätzle. But that allows us now to get a free switch into something, and we have to decide what do we switch in now to pressure his team the most. We could go into Lando, but then we have to trouble with 50-50 going for Earthquake, killing this Mawile, predicting to stay in. Or do we go for Rock Slide, predicting the Rotom or the Tornadus to come in? Then another thing we could go into is our Kyurem. And just go straight for the Earth Power to try to kill this thing. But then once again 50-50 this time with the Tornadus coming in. But he might not try to risk it and stuff like that. We could go into Kyurem again as well and just pop our Z move right here. But the amount of health Mawile it's at is actually not a guaranteed OHKO, so I'm a bit hesitant to do that because I still don't know. From the Earthquake damage, I know it's not that bulky, but it's still decently bulky. And if he takes rocks damage with Kyurem, we actually have a bit of problem with versus the Tornadus, which could kill us with the Hurricane if he's offensive. The other play, of course, we can do is we can go into our Deoxys, which of course invites a Sucker Punch from his side, but of course we have to substitute a Scout for that. And in the end, I actually decided to go for the Deoxys because looking at the brutality of his team, that pressures his team the most. Once I kill this Mawile with like, my Storming Tantrum, he has nothing that wants to take a Psychic Boost from my Deoxys, especially since the Tyranitar is asleep. So even if you switch it in the thing, I get a free substitute. He did not burn any turns of sleep, so he will guaranteed be asleep for one turn and get a free sub up. Then go for Storming Tantrum and all this good stuff and get rid of Tyranitar as well, and potentially even have a sub up still with my Deoxys. So I decided to go with my Deoxys right here. Basically, Scout first, I of course go for Substitute because I don't know for sure yet that he doesn't have Sucker Punch. Like I said, it's an indicator that he has no knockoff, so I still want to go for Substitute Scouting what he has, and we see no Sucker Punch from his side. He does just go straight for the knockoff, and that tells me now, okay, this set doesn't have the Sucker Punch, so I can just go for Stomping Tantrum right here, killing this thing and still be in great shape with my Deoxys, but he does have the Sucker Punch. He baited me very well right here. Like after I didn't saw the Sucker Punch with Jirachi and I didn't saw the Sucker Punch here, I was so sure that he doesn't have the Sucker Punch on Mawile, and he does a very nice bluff going first for the knockoff, predicting me, I guess, to Scout for the Sucker Punch as well with Substitute or something like that. And we get caught off guard and our Deoxys just drops to that, which is annoying as heck, because now we have once again the decision, do we go to Kyurem, do we go to Lando? This time I decided to go to my Kyurem. And I go to the Calc, since now I know that he's Sucker Punch. Sucker Punch does around 40% to me, and Substitute of course only 25, so I actually decided to go for a Substitute right here, trying to play the Sucker Punch mind games a little bit more. This time I do win them actually, and yeah, I might still hope that he switches out or something like that. I just go straight for Earth Power to KO this thing, but he got to go for second Sucker Punch, so we do lose our Substitute sadly, but we did take less damage in general, since Crit Sucker Punch actually could have gotten close to killing us as well. And we do get rid of Mawile. So finally, after way too many turns, we do get rid of that thing, and yeah, we do have our Kyurem in, which of course sadly is in range of close to everything. But he does now go into his Lunala, which is faster than us, of course. So now we have a problem. We only have Mandibuzz left, which can switch into the thing, since it would be 2KO'd by the most likely Moonblast he's going for here. And we do have Kyurem at 50% health right now, and we do have our Landorus still in the back. Our win con, of course, is the Landorus. The problem with Landorus sweeping is the Rotom, which is still at too much health to be KO'd by Rock Slide, barring I get, for some reason, Assault stands up. So I have to think, how can I get some more chip damage on the Rotom to bring it in range of my Rock Slide, because everything else will drop to the Earthquake, especially if this thing switches in again another time on rocks. Tyranitar drops, the Landorus drops to Rock Slide and all this good stuff. So we have to think, how do we get more damage on the Rotom? And I look at my team, and I look at his team, and there's not really a way for me to get chip damage on him. I lost way too many mons already. I do have way too less resources. Rocks are up on the field, so my Kyurem is not staying around for long. My Mandibu's weak to Rocks not staying around for long. And my Landor, of course, is the one who needs to do the sweeping. So I looked at my win cons at this point in the game, which after the Sucker Punch bluff from Aster is not looking too hot from my side. And I looked at the rest of his team and I do some math and I decided the win con actually for me right now is to still sweep with Lando, but to just get the flinch on the Rotom with Rock Slide, get the crit with Rock Slide on the Rotom, or dodge a Hydro Pump. That's a lot of things. I didn't do the math in the game, I did the math after. Basically, with all those swings and calculating in that I might risk the Rock Slide, all this together gives me a 42% chance to win the game, which is actually not that bad for looking at how dire the situation is. But either way, I dressed in right here, go for a Z Freeze Shock in case something weird happens, but he does just go straight for the Moonblast. Like I said in the team build already, this is most likely, I'm thinking most likely a Choice Scarfed Lunala versus me. And looking at the totality of his team, the only real thing I can set up on would be Tyranitar if it's sleep, or on a switch out on his side. And the best thing he would switch out versus me is with this Lunala right here. So I do decide to go for Rock Polish in case he Scarf, of course. And he does switch out, and we do get our Rock Polish up, and he does switch into Tornadus. And this makes things interesting as well now, because I could actually switch it up and bank on a Hurricane Miss from his side and go for my Sword Stance. But actually, looking at it, I had a high chance of flinching him and missing Hydro Pump, so it just goes straight for the Rock Slide. We KO this Tornadus, and now, of course, he will switch into his Rotom, which is his best check to me at this point. Everything else drops to the Earthquake plus Rocks. So he does go into the Rotom. And now it's the time to see what happens. First of all, we need to hit this Rock Slide, which we do. So this bumps up our chances to 44% actually at this point. And now we need the flinch, which we sadly do not get. He goes for Hydro Pump and he does connect. And yeah, sadly, he does KO our Mr. Man. And this means we only have Mandibu's left, which, looking at his team, might actually have a chance to 1v1 his team if his Tyranitar stays asleep forever, because our only attack is knockoff, so we're not doing much damage to Tyranitar, and he needs to miss like all these Stone Edges, but he does have the Toxic, he connects, and yeah, I did Roost here, because I guess there was one hope that Mandibus could carry my back, like in the match versus Deathly, and just 1v1 his whole team. But after he Toxic me, now it's officially GG, because I can't kill his mons fast enough before Toxic kills me, basically, because Mandibus is not that strong. And only have knockoff. So right here I will just spam knockoff. And yeah, I'm hoping to maybe get a kill again versus the Rotom, but he can just go for Pain Split and stay alive. And spoiler alert, I am going to lose this match 4-0, and we can already start talking about how and why that happened. And two things I want to say were the two plays I regret. One was not being aggressive with Landorus, but in retrospect, I don't know, because it was my win condition and was the Tornadus, but that was a play I really thought a lot about, because I knew already I was only going to win this game if I play aggressive versus him, but at that point I wasn't feeling that feisty yet to take a risk like that. And the second thing, of course, was the non-Sucker Punch bluff from his side, because if it would have worked out and I would have killed the Mawile with, not a substitute up, of course, it would have died to the second Sucker Punch, I would have killed the Mawile, I would have still had my Deoxys around, and I would have still had my Kyurem around at full health, at 75% health because of rocks, but that would have made it a way different game and potentially make it way easier for me as well to get the chip I need versus the Rotom to make my Landorus shine. So yeah, I could have scouted. I was after the game thinking as well, should I have just gone for second substitute on my Deoxys to play super safe versus the Sucker Punch, potential Sucker Punch for more while. But in the end, I didn't want to beat me up too much about that, because I want to say it's mainly not a misplay on my part to not scout even more for the Sucker Punch. It was mainly a great play from Aster's part to first go for knockoff and then go for Sucker Punch, predicting me to have something to dodge a Sucker Punch at this point. So yeah, GG to Aster. We do sadly lose 4-0, so we tank our first 2 losses in a row right now, and we do need to break that streak for sure, because we don't want to choke away our playoff chances in the last half of the season. Oh, by the way, last half of the season, I want to say that at the beginning of the video, short sidetrack from the battle. My press conference I had planned, I made the announcement video, stuff like that. That is still gonna happen, but I actually have some transactions which are gonna happen for the next week, like week 8. For next week, I will have some more transactions and my team will change. And I decided to basically combine the press conference video together with the transactions video. That's why it's just gonna wait a bit. So if you have more questions or different questions right now, just put them on the video. I will answer all on the announcement video. I will answer all as well here. But yeah, that's all for this upload. I can mainly say very well played by Aster. Of course I made some misplays, and there's no arguing that. I should have just gone straight for Fire Punch with Madrachi and stuff like that, but in the end I think what decided it was more good playing by Aster than bad playing by me. At least I want to think that. You can of course disagree. But yeah, that's all for this upload. If you did enjoy, leave a like, comment, subscribe, you know the deal. We are gonna face Tubb and his Pittsburgh Pirates next week, which are on a hot streak so far, and so we are in dire need, of course, of a win, and Tubb is looking like a juicy target for that. But if you enjoyed the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe, you know the deal. Hit me on Twitter, Facebook, all the links are in the description. Check out Aster, of course, for his side of the match. Check out all the guys I mentioned at the beginning, and that's all for me. I will see you another time. Ciao.